Okay, so for Windows 10, starting off, we want to go down to the Start button, find the little gear for settings, click that, find time and language, and then on the left, you'll see region and language, and the little button for add a language right there. Click that, and it's obviously easier just to search instead of scrolling all the way down. And yeah, since we don't have the kanji keyboard yet, we'll just do it with normal old English letters. And I just like to leave all those checked just in case later on I might need those features. Yeah, at this point it just takes a little while for it to install, so I'm going to skip ahead. Okay, so it is installed now. I have the language pack installed right there. Hooray! You can totally exit out of this now. And go down to your bottom right, you'll see a little button where you can switch languages. So there's Japanese right there. You can click it. That's just a simple way to switch. It's not exactly the most convenient if you're in the middle of typing. So what you can do is hit Alt-Shift. And that'll actually switch the language right away. And as for typing, you kind of spell it out phonetically as you would with Romaji. So like hiragana, you just press A. Literally just press A and then press Enter. For a kanji, you literally spell out just phonetically like you would with Romaji. Watashi, press space once, press enter, and that's how you select the character or kanji or whatever, what have you. And then you can continue typing different characters after you hit enter. You know, stuff like sha, you put SHA, ja is JA. Tricky ones would be T. Almost like, you know, like a cup of tea, but in Japanese, if you're trying to write it in katakana, you do THI. And similarly, D, like Dizuni Warudo, Dizuni Rando, you put DHI. And then for, yeah, here's some more examples of kanji. Otokonoko. You pretty much just type it out, and then you hit space, maybe once or twice, sometimes more if the kanji you're typing isn't really common. It's not necessarily the case, though. Sometimes even really common kanji is really far down the list, but you just kind of have to learn to work with it. You'll get used to it. And then one thing I don't recommend, though, is typing numbers in the Japanese keyboard. I don't really know why, but if you type in numbers, it has a completely different sort of character for the numbers, which aren't recognizable or universal, really. I find that the English numbers are actually much more universal. So if you want to type numbers, just quickly hit Alt-Shift. That'll switch you back to English. Alternatively, if you have the Japanese keyboard up, you can also hit Shift Caps Lock. The Japanese keyboard is actually pretty neat. It has a Japanese key, English keys in it, sort of inside it. So you can basically, instead of having to switch between languages, if you have multiple languages on your keyboard, it's kind of nice. You can just hit Shift Caps Lock and still type in Romaji or the more convenient numbers that are attached to the English keyboard. So it's if you kind of mess around with it for a while, you'll know why that's convenient. Say like if you're trying to search on a page or something, even Japanese websites use the same numbers as we do. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, if you're switching or you're just trying to like search something on the internet and you need numbers and Japanese characters and stuff like that, just switch back to the good old English letters and type in the numbers. And then as of course punctuation, they can look kind of similar. However, there's obvious differences. Comma is a good example. The Japanese comma looks much different very different from the English comma. So just be sure to, if you want to actually search things or, you know, for organizational purposes, you just kind of want to switch back to the English characters, in my opinion. And we'll kind of get into that when we get to making Excel files and lists of kanji and how to make flashcards, which that sort of encompasses everything I'll be getting into in my videos. So, all right, we're done with this. Next, I'm actually going to show you how to take notes. So I use Google Sheets. It's a lot like Excel. It's set up through a Gmail account. It's free. So let's go to drive.google.com. I already have one, so it'll just log me right in. it's free to make one, so just make one, and you pretty much just come to this address, drive.google.com, and you can right click here and hit Google Sheets. And yeah, so we have all these boxes we could put our notes in. So just say, for example, first one's going to be Nihon. So it's the first kanji we'll have on our list. And then I like to put the yomikata, so basically how to read it, but I write that out in hiragana. And then I put the English meaning on the far right. So we have Japanese, hiragana, English. Pretty simple. Next we'll do like another one. So Nishiyobi, that is Sunday. So you'll get all the muscle memory down eventually. The more you do this, it kind of becomes very natural. So that's basically just how you enter the info. Now what's handy about this is there's lots of other things you could do, like insert columns to the left. You could like insert above. So if you ever just need like more space anywhere, you could always just insert it. So it's really handy. And I like having columns because you can categorize things. So what I like to do is Yokoso. So that's the textbook name that we're going to be using for this course. And let's put the number. Like I said, the Japanese keyboard numbers are a little wonky sometimes. It's up to you if you want to use that or not. It actually doesn't really matter here. Just in some cases, it's not really handy to have Japanese numbers. I don't know why. You'll kind of get a feel for that too. It's kind of weird. So if I could just type all these, but obviously it's easier just to copy and paste. So look, I can easily see which ones are all from Yokoso 1. Say if I move on to book number 2, I could easily categorize everything. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, I also want to do it by section. I could do insert right. So instead of having to, say like if it's a text document, say there's like a bunch of entries you have. So you're like, oh wait, no, I want to categorize all of these. Well, in Excel or Google Sheets, you can actually just, instead of having to like type on every individual row and say like, section 1, you're like, okay, I want to categorize all of these by section. In text, you'd have to, kind of go through this. It's kind of a pain. But for this, you could just highlight all these boxes, section 1, Control C, and then Control V. So all of them are section 1 instantly, so a little bit faster. So there's a lot of useful things when it comes to actually categorizing your notes. When it comes to Excels or Google Sheets, they're much more handy than just regular Notepad or even just Microsoft Word. Yeah. So, ignore that. I have accidentally opened up Discord. So, okay, so moving on from here, I'm actually going to skip ahead to my entire kanji list, which I've already made for you guys. So, this was just an example on how to actually take notes yourself, so you can do it in the future. But I'm going to go ahead and get out the one that I have specifically made for you guys already. I'm going to have links up on this for you guys to find. It has all of the kanji you guys are going to need for this program, and I have it so numbered, so literally every kanji combination is numbered, and then you have the book here, you have the section. This kanji is usually pronounced ka, I think. I don't know, I've only ever just kind of Googled it, but it's synonymous with section or chapter. Kind of seen it used for both. And if you're confused by all the coloring and formatting here, why it doesn't look like the first one I made for you that was really simple, it's kind of like Word where you can format the text and like the color behind it. So we got the fill color right here. You can select whichever one you want. I just picked this one because it looks nice to me. And then you can do the font. I've found I like Montserrat. Montserrat. I don't really know how to pronounce that, but looks good. I think these look nice. The numbers look nice. So it doesn't really affect the kanji. They have their own font. I actually don't even know if there's like a font you can pick in here that makes kanji look different at all in Google Sheets. But it at least makes the numbers look a little nicer. And then same with the English characters. And then as the numbers here. So this actually, it's kind of, if you've never used Excel or Google Sheets before, this might sound advanced, but it's pretty simple. So I got the first one here. This is the first kanji I put in my list, right? I put 1, and then the next one, a little bit different. So instead of just typing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way down, I basically just, in this box, I type the equal sign, and now Google Sheets or Excel would recognize this as a formula now. What I want to do is next select a box in relation to this one that I want to make a formula for. Basically, you're just going to click on the 1. For our purposes, that's enough. And then we just hit plus sign. So type the plus sign on your keyboard, and then 1. So it's grabbing this number, adding 1 to it, and that equals 2. So that is exactly what's happening in all of these boxes. Now, instead of copying just the number 2 down all these, so if you hit Control C, Control V, that'll actually copy the formula instead of just the number here. So it's kind of sneaky. And when you double click it, you'll see it actually shows the formula, but when you're just browsing, perusing through everything, it shows the number you want it to actually display instead of the formula. So pretty handy. And then if I just click this, you can either copy or paste, but I just like to click this and drag it down. That'll copy that formula into all the boxes you actually highlight. Again, no, you can just press Control C and then Control V. It does the same thing. Anyway, so I have them all categorized by number, book, section, kanji, yomikata, and then I have the English meaning. So this is a lot of kanji I made for you guys. It's a long list, so it'll save you guys a lot of time as far as like compiling notes. And you know, if you want to actually start your own list of kanji from here for the first, honestly, I think this goes up to 202. So it's Japanese 202. It's pretty. That's 4 semesters in, so that'll save you guys a lot of trouble. I also have a list, my own personal list, which includes from here up until, so basically 201 all the way to 312, I believe. So yeah, it's a lot of notes for you guys to just kind of jump into, but for the sake of this program, I just want to start off with just Yokoso 1 and Yokoso 2. Yokoso. Gotta pronounce that right. Gotta say that right. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna have a link for this up on the page. Okay, so next I'm gonna show you guys how to grab all of these kanji and their notes and format them in a way that Anki can understand. So Anki is the app we're gonna use to make flashcards. So one thing I have to make sure that we actually do is I want to add a row above this. So insert one above. And I'm going to label each column. So number, book, section, kanji, reading, meaning. So these are basically categories that Anki is going to have to look for when we create our decks. So make sure we have this here. This is going to be something that's already on the list for you guys, of course, the one that I'm going to have listed on the website. So again, that's just for you to actually, if you're going to be making notes for yourself in the future. Just be sure to check the description of this video, or be sure to read on the page that you're on the literacy project page, if you want to get links to all the things I'm bringing up. Now we're going to grab all these notes, all these kanji from our Google Sheet and save them in a way that Anki can read and then generate flashcards from. So to select everything, you want to just click anywhere where there's actually something in it and hit Control A. That'll select all the boxes that actually have something in it. It'll ignore all these blank ones on the side. There's a bunch of blank ones. It won't highlight those at all. So click here, Control A, and then Control C. That'll copy it. And we just want to save it to a notepad. Control V. This has everything. All the notes we took. It has the categories at the top, like I made earlier. It has the number of the kanji. So again, that's just my arbitrary number, the list that we've made here. And then it has them separated by these blank spaces. These are tab characters. So, you know, like when you write a paragraph in Microsoft Word, you want to put a tab before the paragraph. It's just like that, same thing. And it does change size. It's between these two right here, it's actually much smaller than it is here, but don't worry, that is in fact a tab character. This right here is a space. You know, like we have the space bar, but this is a tab. If you want to make sure, just hit Control C and then Control V. Did the same thing. But if I did that here, it's a little wonky. That means that this one wasn't a tab. Anyway, so Anki needs these tabs here in order to differentiate the quote-unquote fields. That's what it calls them, fields, that it will grab data from and put on parts of the flashcard which you will specify. We'll get to that in just a moment. So we want to save this in a format that will make sure Notepad won't lose these kanji. Notepad doesn't always support kanji unless you save it in specific formats. UTF is the one we want. So, you know, you file, save as, and now UTF-8. And I'm going to save it as literacy deck. And I already have one there. I'm just going to save over it. It's not a big deal. Just make sure you save it as this format here. And for you guys, it'll be a new file. For me, I'm saving. Don't worry about that. And I'm going to move on to Anki now. Okay, to actually get Anki now, I'm going to go to apps.ankiweb.net. And it has the download button right here. It just scrolls you down here though. So download Anki. We have Mac, we have Windows, we have Linux, we have iPhone, Android. What's really cool is all these flashcards that we're going to be making for your computer, on your computer, you can actually upload them to your phone as well. We're going to be making an account with Anki that's also free, just like the app. So go ahead and download and install. It'll show you this little window. Install, and then it'll ask you for your language to install. Don't do Japanese, do English. The app, we want it to be in English, unless you guys really want to challenge yourself. But so just as an example of what it'll look like for you guys, I think when you're opening up, it might ask you for a profile. I want to go ahead and just for you guys, I'll make one real quick. So I'll make a profile just called literacy example, and okay, double click it. And this is a blank slate here now. So the handy thing about Anki, like I said, is you can upload it to your phone. But to do that, you need to create an account. You go ahead and just click this little refresh symbol up here. You hit sign up. And then sign up like you've done for everything so far. Just create your own one. Might as well just use the Gmail you used for your Google Sheet earlier. Should be easy enough. And then we want to sign in. And then from now on, I'll actually show you guys how to make a deck. So we want to go to start from scratch, we go to Tools, Manage Note Types, click Add, select Basic, hit OK, and do Literacy Note Type. So there we got it right here. And we want to click on Fields right here. Right now it just has front and back. So as you imagine, most I'm sure you guys know how flashcards work. This digital version here for Anki, it's got the front and the back. Pretty simple. But we're going to have a lot of different stuff that it's going to grab from. So we want to add fields. So those are the fields separated by the tabs I was discussing earlier. So I want to rename this first one. Let's just do number. Those are the numbers at the front. And then next we have back. I want to change that to book. I'll click add for the next one. And do section. Then click add again. Kanji. Add again. Reading. And then lastly, meaning. This is the English meaning. And with that, we're actually good to go. So next I want to import that text file that we had from earlier. So I have it saved on the desktop. Just find it after clicking import down here. Find it, and then click open. And then look, we got it all lined up, nice and pretty. That's exactly what we have on the text file and the Google Sheet. Deck, we're going to actually add one. So default is just the one that has there as a placeholder when you start off, but we're going to name this one literacy. And hit add. That's what I want to do. Click add. And we're good here for now. So like I said earlier, it's separated by tabs in the notepad. It says fields separated by tab, just like I said. And we want to hit import. 614 notes added. So that is all of the kanji that we made in the list earlier. And look, it's got the deck right here. Click on that, literacy. And then it's got new learning to review. We'll get into that in just a moment here. I want to actually, first thing, I want to just click study now and go down here to edit. So this is where we can edit the cards, so to speak. So this is the layout of what the cards look like. This is the front preview, and then this is the back preview. So we got both. Number, again, I just had those arbitrary ones as a list, so we don't actually need these on the card. I'm going to leave it in there anyway, but I'm going to leave it in a way where I can actually alter it. You'll see what I mean here in just a moment. So I'm going to get rid of that, hit add field, and then put number. Okay, and now I could change the font size. I actually want the number kind of small because the number is not really that important for our purposes. So I'm going to make it like 5. Yeah, I just like to have the number on the card itself in case you ever need it for reference purposes. And now I'm gonna, so the flashcard for this project, it's a literacy project, right? So we want to have the kanji on the front. So I will click add again, add field, and hit kanji. We want the kanji on the front. You can actually make it bigger. I prefer to have that much bigger. It's kind of annoying when it's small. You're trying to practice your literacy on individual words at least. It's much better because you can kind of sit back and relax a little bit. And then next, down here, it's got book. I'm just going to get rid of that too. And then put that on the front here. And this is all customizable, so you don't have to do exactly how I'm doing it. This is just the way I like to do it. And then it's got it there, and I want to change the size. Just like with the number, we're going to make it kind of small so it's not so distracting. And I have the kanji at the top, just a little bit nicer that way. So I got kanji, book, number. Okay, now after that, I want to add some fields to the back. I'm going to have the reading. Oh, I'll put it there sometimes. You just want to. So you could do Control X. Control X will cut it instead of copy it, so that way it gets rid of it up here, and then you press Control V, puts it down there. A little better. And I'll have the reading pretty big too, so I'll have that at 60. Just like the kanji itself. And then 2 more fields I need to add. I haven't done section up here yet, so I'm going to do that now. So section, and I can change the size here too, that's fine. Hit OK. And you know, it actually didn't save that, so I'm just going to go ahead and manually change it right there. Again, this is all customized. You guys can do it however you like. And then I'm going to go down here and add meaning. Don't you wish it was that easy? You just add meaning. Man, we could all use some meaning. Anyway, so that's cool. That's done. All right, you can close that. And so while you're looking at the flashcards, this is the example. So this is grabbing from the names of the fields at the top of the Google Sheet, which looks kind of silly right now, but it just says kanji. And if you saw, I made it bigger. I do that by holding Control and scrolling up and down with your mouse wheel. That's the only way I really know how to do that. But there might be some other way if you don't have a mouse wheel. I know some Macintosh mice and certain mice actually don't have mouse wheels, but that's how I know how to do that at least. And then, so we're looking at this. This is the example. It says kanji. It's got all the book number section information on there. But imagine this is a kanji, and I don't know how to read it. And I want to see the answer. I go down here and click Show Answer down here. And boom, there we go. So again, this is the example one. We actually can remove this from our deck entirely. And to delete that, we go ahead and go to Browse at the top here, up here. Click that. And this is kind of a lot of information. You want to usually come over here. So you come to the left, and look, this says Literacy Note Type. That was that note type we created at the beginning when we first opened Anki. And then it has all the cards with that note type. Don't really have to know what it means, just know how to get here. And then because I numbered all of the cards, if you remember in the Google Sheet, it has them all numbered in here as well. And the number is going to be way at the bottom past all 613 kanji. And then we just delete that. So number, basically, if you remember, that was the field at the top above all the numbers, but since it organizes these by number and then the letters. So the number goes all the way to the bottom. Click on it, hit delete. It says one note deleted right down here. So that's good. Let's go ahead and close that. And now it starts on the very first kanji. So this is the actual kanji we want to study. Okay, so now it is showing us the kanji we actually want to study. If we, again, like just with the last one, if I don't know how to read this kanji right here, hit Show Answer, and it'll show the hiragana, and then the meaning. And then, depending on how confident we feel with our understanding of this kanji up here, we have multiple responses we could do. We could do, if we click again, that'll make sure this card comes up sooner than cards than if we click good. If we click good, it'll shuffle them back into the deck, but it won't come back immediately. It'll take a little while. And then if we hit easy, easy will make it so it takes much longer for it to come back. It says 4 days right here. So just as an example, I'm going to say that we don't understand this kanji right here. I'm going to click again so you guys can see how soon it comes back after looking at other kanji. So here we go. We have this one. Again, we hit show answer if we don't know it. Either way, if you know it, you want to hit show answer, and that way you can give it your response on how easy it was for you. Now for the rest of these, I'm pretty much just going to keep clicking easy until that first kanji comes up. So let's do this. And then you can also, instead of clicking this, you can hit space. Hitting space is a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier than moving the mouse down there every single time. And then you could also hit 3. 3 just works like basically the way easy does. I hit space again. Now I'm here. I have, so 1, 2, 3 again is 1, good is 2, easy is 3. Just know that the buttons do change on occasion when you revisit a deck. There's sometimes more than 3 buttons. Just be conscientious of that when you're actually opening up your deck and make sure that you know which button does what. But just know that there are hotkeys for these in the order of 1, 2, and 3, and then eventually 4. So going back to decks right here, I want to show you guys how to upload this. So let's pretend like you went through your whole deck for the day and you want to make sure you can access these on your phones or maybe on a different computer or even on a desktop app on a different computer. So if I click this, it'll bring me here if you don't have a sign up, if you haven't signed up yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip to a signed up version of this. That way I can upload my deck to the website real quick. So after you registered an account, click that. This is my account, so it's going to look a little different in this menu, but it's as simple as that. You just click this, and it did that while I was talking. It uploaded all the cards. So if you had multiple decks, it would upload all of them at the same time. And now I'm going to show you how to access it online as well. You can do it on a browser, on any computer. You don't actually have to download Anki on a different computer to use your deck, which is really handy. So you come to ankiweb.net, and then you just go ahead and log in. So I'm going to log into mine here. And look, I can access my deck on the browser. So in effect, you actually don't need the Anki app to review your flashcards. You only need it to make an account and upload decks to this. And also create your own decks if you so choose. This is my deck for 301 through 312. So I could just show you as an example. It's just as easy to use it in the browser as it is to use it in the Anki desktop app. So I'm going to click Study Now. So I got this. It's a little different sometimes as far as layout, but it's just as easy, I'd say. There's this plus sign for making it bigger and smaller. So this way you don't need the mouse wheel. It's pretty handy. And then let's do Show Answer. You can't use space in my experience. I think I've been able to use it on some computers, but not all. So like this one has 4 buttons like I was talking about earlier. Let's try and hit number. That worked. So I hit 3 and that was good. So that was, I got it, but I'm not ready to take it out of the deck yet. And it should come up eventually. You could do Show Answer again. Shisakusuru. So that is kanji for making a prototype. So this is pretty advanced. Don't worry about this. This might be a little freaky. It won't be relevant for you, but this is just an example of how it works. So for Android devices, you could just go to Google Play and look up Anki Droid. And I already have it installed, but you just want to install it. Once it's done, you open it up. It will ask you to log in. I'm already logged in. Important thing is the sync button. The sync button is important because if you log back on, you want to make sure that you're conscientious of when you click sync, because your phone might be out of date as far as decks you have, or maybe the progress you've made in decks. So you want to prioritize the most current or up-to-date files. So if your profile has decks that you don't have on your phone and you have made more progress on your Anki profile than you have on your phone, go ahead and hit download. Now if your phone has more progress, or if you just used your phone, you want to hit upload. So when you start your phone, you hit download, and when you're done with using your phone, you hit upload. That makes sure all your progress is saved to your profile every time you use it. And it's the same thought process when you're studying on the program, the application on your desktop. You want to sync it before you start, and then when you're done, you sync it one more time. and that'll save all your progress properly. A few final notes, getting pretty close to the end of the video here. When you copy all of this Google Sheet information to Notepad, at this point you can customize Anki in a much simpler way as far as decks go. As you saw, I have all the sections labeled and everything. So right here we're getting to section 2, scroll down, got section 3 here. If you want to make a deck simply for one section, when you get to this portion, when you copied everything in a Notepad, you could simply delete all the surrounding sections. There's two easy ways to do it. You could just delete the surrounding ones, or you could just highlight the section you want exactly. And then you can press Control-C, and then delete everything but the very top line here. You want to keep that in there. And let's go and just delete everything else. I'm just going to leave it here and hold Shift, and then click down here, backspace, and then I already copied the section I wanted, press Control-V. Now we have just section 3 of Yokoso 1. So that way, if you follow my instructions from before, from here on, you'll be able to study just this section. This page you're seeing right now will change over time. It's a work in progress. It will eventually include the video you're actually watching. It'll be embedded in this page. So it'll be a good resource for you guys, hopefully. It has links to that Google Sheet I've made for you guys. This will all be in the video description as well. Got some links to the Anki Decks I have pre-made from 101 to 202. So that's a lot of kanji there for you. And then moving on from there, from 301 to 312. So that's a lot of classes, a lot of semesters. It'll save you some time. And I also have a link to my own Google Drive for all my Japanese notes. This is kind of a hodgepodge deal here. It's got a lot of different sections and tabs down here. I didn't really get into these before, but you can actually explore different tabs in Google Sheets just like in Excel. And there's a bunch of tabs down here I've labeled. So I have all the class kanji. So specifically, and I don't know if I showed you this, you could zoom out here. It's a little bit more handy if you're going to go through a huge list. So I got, that's a lot of kanji. And then I got another tab here. There's miscellaneous kanji vocab. This stuff just I studied recently, and it's kind of like a little scrap paper section, just stuff I've studied recently. And then here's my early list for you guys. That was before it was done. Don't pay attention to these. These will actually be deleted. But you know, you can make little temporary study sheets. Like if you got a test coming up, you just click plus right here. You know, you copy the sections you're having trouble with. You know, you kind of just highlight it like this, or you click here and hold Shift and click here. It'll highlight sections, and then it'll generate a sheet with a random number, pretty much. And then you just copy it, paste there, and then right click, go and hit paste column widths only. That'll make it look nicer like it did before. And then say you kind of type in some stuff here and you realize the font's just back to the default. It's kind of annoying. You can highlight here, and then this is the paint format. It's really handy. You click that, and then you highlight another line down below, just like it, and it'll format it the same. It's really handy. That'll save you a lot of time. And then say, this is how I study. I actually study in Google Sheets as well, not just the Anki. Because sometimes it's a little annoying to make Anki decks. So if, say, like I'm having trouble remembering certain kanji or certain grammatical points I have in here, like I have a tab on grammar too. I have a lot of resources here for you guys. So definitely look around. But just as an example for studying with Google Sheets, it's kind of handy. I kind of, as I'm going through the list, I pretty much just look at this right column here. This is the kanji right here, and if I have trouble reading that, or if I want to start on this side, I can too. I can try to read the English version. If I have trouble knowing how to say this in Japanese, I highlight this, just like red or pink or something, and I come back to it, and then all the ones that I have highlighted pink, I can just drag those next to each other and start to kind of do what Anki does for me, and just study them and reorganize them as I'm going along, just as in a temporary sheet. And then once that test is over, you can just kind of delete that sheet. That's one thing I've found to be pretty handy, instead of just, you know, writing notes and going through all my notes, my entire list of notes. I just kind of, I go through all my notes that I actually have in the notebook, and instead of it's in the notebook, it's in Google Sheets. And then I copy all the ones I'm having trouble with and put them right next to each other. So I don't have to keep thumbing through all the stuff I know that's very easy. I could do it without a thought in my head. I just can just easily say, like, at this point, you know, the kanji, I don't have to worry about that. So if I'm, you know, it's customizable. That's what I like about this experience. Whoopsie. So, yeah, I hope this has been helpful for you guys. I believe I'm actually pretty done at this point. So I have my email listed on the resources page down here at the bottom. You can, of course, comment on this YouTube video. I think it'll be more responsive if you guys email me. So please don't be afraid to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments on my videos or any of my Excel sheets, my Google Sheets. So beyond the work that I've done for you guys, there is a way to find other people's decks as well. So if you go to ankiweb.net, it'll probably bring you to decks, so /decks, but we want to get to get shared decks. So go and click that, and there's a search bar up here. So let's try Japanese. And it comes with a list. It's pretty much listed by rating, so it's top one's gonna be pretty handy. It says 2,000 step 1 listening sentence vocab images. Anki is pretty involved if you really get into it. You can add images, you can add audio. Tobu. So like that, tobu. Tobu. To fly, it's a verb. There's a lot of amazing Anki decks out there. I personally didn't show you guys how to add sound. You can learn how to do that yourself. But for now, I suggest just doing the list I made for you just for the literacy purpose, at least. Literacy purposes. But if you want to just download someone's deck and just go to town on it and learn some vocab on your own, it's obviously a great thing to do for yourself. But yeah, there's all kinds of resources out there. Just be sure to keep on looking, and thank you very much for your time. This is a pretty long video, so good job sitting through it. Let's go to Samadeshita. Have a good night. Have a good day, wherever you are.